Hey guys, it's Cheska here and I'm back with another video. And I've been wanting to do this video for quite some time now, and I'm just really excited with this concept. And yeah, so I'm back to my original setup. It's been a long time. This is Spilling the Tea with Cheska. Spilling the tea from a literature major. And I don't know the significance of the literature major there, but I just kind of want to point it out. I've got this drink with me. It's not tea. Don't know why I didn't make tea, but I think this is just more fitting. This is not alcoholic. This is just sparkling grape juice. So I don't know. I just feel so fancy right now. Maybe we're on a fancy date. Who knows? With a bookshelf behind my back. Yeah. Ask you guys, I asked people on Instagram, people that follow me on Instagram, to help me with some tea that we're gonna spill today. Okay, so I've got a few here on my phone. So let's problematic or unlikable main characters over good protagonists. And I agree. They don't even have to be protagonists, just characters. Problematic, morally gray characters over goody two-shoes, unproblematic characters. We all have our tastes with books and with characters. And I kind of get it why people don't like protagonists or characters that are problematic or morally gray in general. And that's fine. But there are people that hate on others that like these characters. These unproblematic characters, morally gray protagonists are just so much better because they have many layers, and there are many ways that the story could go on, which just makes them more interesting. One chapter we could be, where the plot is, our main conflict, our main villain and all that, but the next one there's something about the past. The next one, something about the present, or the relationship with the other characters. It's just much more interesting to read that we're following somehow the life story of this particular character. But there's so many things we can go on, and that just gives layers. And it also kind of makes it more relatable that the story may be set in this fantasy world that we can never ever go to or have in the real world, but it makes them more human and closer to us because of these things, that the protagonist or the character's only problem is not just the other person with powers that's trying to take them down, or these people that have powers or whatever that's trying to take down the protagonist or just kill the protagonist or whatever. There are also other problems that make them closer to us as readers in this reality. Generally, problematic characters are more interesting. It's just there's so many things to discover about them. They're not only more interesting as a character, they also make the story more interesting. I'm a sucker for the chosen one trope. I mean, most of the things I've read have chosen one trope, but they're never my favorite character. Problematic characters are better, not because we like them or we're apologetic for their behavior, but because they're just more interesting. Okay? Yeah. And in relation to that, I also have a friend give this Darkling 9955 Rody And I don't know whether to agree with you or not. For those who don't know, the Darkling is a character from a series by Lee Bardugo, Shadow and Bone. It's a trilogy, and it's also a Netflix show. So the Darkling was much better in the books than in the show. And I love Ben Barnes, but just the characterization of the Darkling in the show just makes him more shallow and more evil. It's been a long time since I read the books, but what I remember correctly, because I remember saying this in a previous video, that there was just much more depth and reason to the actions of the Darkling. So I don't really hate him. But the show made him more of a villain than he was in the books. Because in the books, I just see him as an anti-hero. He just wants something good. And he's just doing what needs to be done. In the show, we don't see much of that depth and character and history. And to be fair, we've only had season 1. But he was just different. And look, in a sense, I agree to the statement. I still like him, but I'm not like for him. I don't know if that makes sense. I still like the character of the Darkling, but I'm not like a die-hard Darkling stan like those other people on TikTok. I'm on TikTok a lot. I'm gonna say these days, but not really. And yeah, okay. I don't blame you for that. The Darkling's a villain in all aspects and every right. But related to the previous thing, I still like him. He's fine. I mean, if I was in his position, I would probably do the same thing. With those powers, I'd do everything. Next question. Stories don't always have to have a political agenda. And this is so true. Because there are so many people just everywhere. Everyone's like, every story should have a deeper meaning. What is the moral of the story? Like, I'm so sorry that this is what high school English taught you, but that is not what's important in stories and in literature and whatever. You don't always have to look for the moral of the story. You don't always have to think, oh, the moral of the story is to be good, to love everyone that's around you, to appreciate your life. Like, sometimes stories are just stories. They don't always need to be pushing for something or fighting for something. Sometimes they are just stories, and let stories be stories. You know? Look, it's fine if you go reading books and you think, oh, this is what I think the book means. To me, this is what the book resonates. Yes, sure. But I see and hear a lot of people, oh, I hate this book because it has no lesson. It's not telling me anything. It's not good. It's badly written because of this and that. Sometimes stories are just stories. They don't need to be pushing for something. They don't need to be striving to make something in the world or in society. Sometimes they just are. Not everyone writes for something. Sometimes we just write stories for no reason, because this is what I thought of or felt in the moment. And the thing is, when stories push the political agenda they're talking about, it ruins the narrative. Like, it just makes everything horrible. It makes it so obvious when a story is really pushing for an agenda, it puts the narrative in the story in a difficult position because it ruins it. It just because it just makes it bad. So makes it seem like it's badly written. Like, yes, you do you if you want this agenda in your story, but don't push it so hard because the story just becomes so bad. Like, it's gonna be great, but in the end, when it's really pushing for this agenda, especially if like the last few statements are really connecting to that issue or agenda that the story is talking about, it just makes it seem like those children's stories that you read that are probably picture books, that in the end, the crow learned to love his family and whatever, like, destiny. That is what I think is bad writing. Okay, next is this one. Why is Shatter Me so popular? And okay, so I did not read Shatter Me because the friend who said this, okay, the friend who gave this submission told me not to read it, and we have the same likes, so I followed her. And you know what? I agree. Why are there so many people in BookTube and BookTok talking about Shatter Me? Like, I've seen pages, I've read a couple of paragraphs, and just like, I think it's bad writing. Like, I have no idea what the story is about or a name of a single character, but I just do not like the writing, and the writing is such an important thing for me. It should be for everybody. I mean, it sounds very formalist, but if the way the thing is written or the writing is not important, then anything is a story, anything is a poem. And I've read books that do not get as much fame as this Shatter Me, and it deserves to be as famous, even more famous probably. I don't know. I see Shatter Me everywhere. Like, I know it's YA and most YA fantasy things are famous. What is likable about it? What's in it that's not in others? I have not read it, but I personally think it's overrated. Just next, Gabbie Hanna, more like Gabbie Hanna. Okay, so Gabbie Hanna is this YouTuber that published a book, as most YouTubers do. But she published a collection of poetry kind of book. And I read some of those poems, and I truly think it's bad poetry. She got a lot of backlash from all that, and then she posted this video that's saying, if you don't like it, then it's not for you. Basically, she was defending her poetry, and I have a lot of issues with all of those. I mean, okay, number one, it is bad poetry. You can Google them, you can find them somewhere on Google and whatever social media site, and you tell me what you think of it. It's basically poetry that's probably from Twitter that you probably shouldn't have tweeted. I should not even call it poetry. It's I don't know what the hell that is. It's just, no, I'm not kidding. It's bad. It's the tea. It's funny. Sure, I'll give it that. You're gonna say that, oh, I just have my standards, I'm a lit student. The poetry I read is very diverse. I go from Edgar Allan Poe to suddenly I don't know poets. Yeah, I read Shakespeare, which I don't think is good either. Some of them are. He gets a pass because he's dead. But I read Edgar Allan Poe. I read Nikita Hill. I've read some of her poems and they're great. I've seen just random poetry from social media and they're great. That one from Gabbie Hanna is not great. It's just not good. Just search it and you'll get it once. And the fact that she went on to her YouTube to defend it is another issue. Like, when you're a writer and you're going to publish something, it's like it's like releasing words. After you've published it, there's nothing you can control about it anymore. It's just gonna fly wherever, and that's it. As literature student, oh, there we go. There's significance, but as a literature student, we're taught that we shouldn't defend our works to the critics because the work itself, the work should speak for itself. We have this thing called death of the author, where when you read the text or a story, and when you analyze it, the author and the story in the background of the author really should not affect how you perceive the text and how you analyze it. And the fact that as an author, you're gonna go there and defend it like, oh, it's not bad, it's just not for you if you don't like it. Like, it's not making you look good or making the poetry look good. I mean, yes, maybe it's just not for me, but it's not poetry. That's why it's not for me. To be fair though, her books being published, I think, is mainly because of capitalism. She has a platform and a fan base, and because of that, people are gonna publish that for money. And that's what I just think of it. A result of capitalism. That's all I'm gonna say. That's it. Those are all the hot takes thing that I have for today. If you have any thoughts or opinions to anything I said in this video, please leave it in the comments and maybe we'll talk about it. If you have any more opinions or tea, anything related to books or booktube or booktalk or movies, maybe leave it also in the comments below so we could talk about it, because I would love also to make another video like this, but I've made more. And follow me on Instagram because that's where I post all those question stuff. And yes. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!